Hello.
Hey, gang.
Hello.
Nice
Good
to
to
meet
see
you.
you.
Hi.
So,
So we wanted to start with a question for all three of you. Um, you know, Star Wars Visions really reinterprets or allows filmmakers to reinterpret Star Wars through the lens of their cultural experience. And I'm wondering, working at Lucasfilm and seeing these all come in as you go through Visions Volume 2, what's the thing about these cultural reinterpretations of Star Wars that have surprised you or taught you something that maybe you weren't expecting?
great question.
I think one of the things that's taught me is just how universal the foundational myths of Star Wars really are, and how, the truth of of choosing to be selfless versus selfish, of finding your higher calling, of taking that leap in that two sons moment, to trusting your instincts and letting go. All these things that are so Star Wars are not really bound to just Western storytelling, that they might manifest differently in different cultures, but they're really human experiences that are totally transcend. And so it's been a joy to kind of see that different interpretation across culture, and how universal Star Wars is. I always thought it could be. I always thought it was, but you just seeing it has been really eye-opening and really edifying.
And the awesome power of animation, I think, for me, is what animation can do and how it can interpret Star Wars. I mean, with Rodrigo's Sith, on a sort of a blank canvas coming to life in a painterly way, just reflecting the main character's desire and want, and Cartoon Saloon, sort of the inky black darkness of that cave. Animation can do amazing things. And of course the stop motion of Aardman, and also the stop motion / CG of In the Stars and Owl's Song. So it's just amazing what animation can do, I think, these days across the spectrum.
Jackie, what were your thoughts on surprises?
I would have to say that I think it was the interpretation of the Force. I think for surprises, I would say, using voice and song for that sort of connection to the land and connection to your inner self, and then in Sith, using art, your ability to having it come out in art in order to find your way, or to take your journey. I think that is really new and original, and it taught me, like, it can be any sort of thing that releases you and finds your best self, putting it out there for the world. So it's just surprising that it works so well. Like, you'll go with it, and I think animation also has a lot to do with that.
It's interesting that because this is animation, there are many very different styles involved in what we're seeing. So I'm wondering what the selection of order is like for all of you. Are you thinking more about the flow of someone watching them in order, or someone who jumps around, or is it a visual flow that works? What is that conversation like, and how do you decide?
I think you can watch it however you want. And that's the beauty of streaming in a way, is feel free to watch and choose the ones you want to watch. That said, I think we were thoughtful in the sort of, it's kind of like a mixtape. You wanted to make sure you have rhythms in the experience. And so I think, we were very thoughtful about the order as far as just a continuous experience, but doesn't mean that you have to be limited to that alone.
Yeah, that's a great question, though, because we sort of figured the order out, and then we would see something new, whether it was animation or lighting for the first time, and I would have to ping these guys. should we look at the order again now knowing this?
It's true.
And it's a lot like, honestly, like watch, because there are going to be a lot of fans, like me included, like who just start at the beginning and watch them all through. And you want it to crescendo and peak and valley. Like you want to have all those different thrills and your eye to be seeing different things. And so, I think like we all said, it's just trying to put together the best mixtape.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we hope that people like you see one they like, go to the next one. If they don't like it, go to the next one. I think there's just so many experiences to be had.
As you're looking at, Visions Volume 1 felt very, I mean, it was very focused with Japanese companies, and they all had sort of, a very Japanese style. But in this one, it seems like you got a lot broader, and you brought in stop motion animation. What made you feel like you could go broader like that, and that stop motion was a place Star Wars should be, because it feels very natural but very different?
Well, I think we're big fans of animation in general, and the potential of animation. Like Josh was saying earlier, I think we know this is a form that can sustain all sorts of powerful storytelling, and it's just great filmmaking. And so we were a fan of the work by all these studios. The other thing that really anchored this volume was the cultural perspective. Was with Volume 1, we saw that the cultural vision of it was just as important as the form, the anime form. That there was something about all of these stories from Japanese creators that had very unique perspectives, and different kind of storytelling styles and references. And so we felt really strongly that there was power in that, and seeing visions expressed through different cultural and animation styles could work, and the only way it works though is if you lean into the tone of that studio. So if we asked Aardman to do something that wasn't Aardman, and a very kind of serious, dramatic stop motion story, I don't know if that would work. That's not what they do. And so we knew what we would get with them. It was the wonderful moment was when they said, do you really want us to use our Northern English accent actors in this? Do you really want us to push it that far? And we said, yes, we know what we're getting into. The core of the story is emotional in Star Wars. So I don't know. I don't think there was a moment where we really thought this might not work. I think we felt within its expression it would work.
I think we have one more quick one to go, and the answer can be very fast because now we have 2 beautiful seasons of amazing pieces. I'm wondering, is there any chance any of the ones that we have seen so far might get a continuation in subsequent seasons?
That's a great question. I think I would love that to happen. I think it's just like Volume 1. We're waiting to see how people react to Volume 2. We're waiting to see if it finds an audience like Volume 1 did, and people want to see more. From the 3 of us, we love this stuff, and we love making this stuff, and all these characters are worth investing in. So, you never know. And it really just depends on, it depends on how it happens, and what's the right thing to do for the stories, but you never know.
Well, I think that's all we get. So thank you all so much, both for this and your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.